The weather is crazy today. Some parts it's pouring rain, some parts it's sunny, making for some interesting captures. And what did I read today? How about this first one? Apparently it deals with that company you guys remember before where they wanted to offer drone surveillance services. And apparently I guess there's a bill now that's passed to kind of ban people from using drones to do those types of work. This one says anti-spy drone bill becomes law in St. Louis. A bill regulating the use of commercial surveillance drones become law with the mayor's signature Tuesday. The legislation from Alderwoman Alicia Saunier of Tower Grove East is aimed at reining in companies like the out-of-state firm that drew concern earlier this year when it announced and then canceled plans for anti-crime patrols over a South City neighborhood. An initial draft made it illegal for anyone to use a drone to observe any other person or that person's private property without their written consent. That raised concerns among press freedom and First Amendment experts who noted a long-standing precedent supporting the people's right to photograph or film other people in public in plain view and warned that the city could be inviting lawsuits. That's true too, even for regular cameras. So many times people are like, you can't take pictures of me and this and that, it's my privacy and so forth. Like, you're out in the public, that's the way it is. It says, but the final bill focused more on companies selling surveillance services. Such firms will need to have city business licenses and avoid flying within 25 feet of another person without their permission. They will be required to steer well clear of government facilities, law enforcement activity, and emergency medical response. Members of the press doing their jobs and hobbyists taking footage for recreational or educational purposes would be exempted. So it's kind of interesting to think about because, as you guys know, a lot of times the regulations, the fear mongering and so forth is on recreational operators, whereas here they're targeting commercial firms. I still don't get why you would use that service, like flying a drone around the neighborhood, surveying the area like for what, a couple of minutes or whatever until you have to land it, replace the batteries. Like, why would you just have outdoor cameras, for example, security cameras and all that? But in general, you can even read some of the comments too. I mean, it's just interesting how people still have this, I guess, perception of what a drone is nowadays in terms of how it's classified, how people use it. Because this guy says, nobody needs a drone. They should make them illegal except for very special purposes that serve a public need, like limited law enforcement, search and rescue, and that sort of thing. They should all be licensed and accountable. The opportunities for abuse of these machines are rife. They pollute our skies too. Yeah, that's the general perception, I would suppose, when it comes to average individuals, which makes you think again, a lot of people just judge it emotionally based on what they read in the media and so forth, and they need to see, in my opinion, more average individuals just using it in general. Whereas in this situation, it brings up that topic too. There's just so many people that want to, I guess, commercialize it, profit over, I guess, these strict regulations, people's fear and so forth. But what would you think in this case though? Do you think this is a justified law of sort because of one company? And would it actually stand in terms of, let's just say, the federal laws versus the local ones in this case? And then I was reading this, which was kind of fascinating because apparently in this situation, someone just posted recently drone footage of them going from China to North Korea, capturing videos and so forth. Can you imagine that? Holy, you can get in so much trouble, I was thinking. Imagine here if I did that, where the border actually is not too far from here. I could literally fly here in Canada and just like a couple of meters, literally like, hey, I'm in the US now, but you shouldn't do that. So this guy here, he posted online, drone pics of North Korea. I was in China, my drone flew across the border. I mean, it's really fascinating to see the pictures and so forth, but yeah, how much trouble would you get in terms of flying your drone across the border in that way? That's crazy. And one of the things was this guy apparently flew this a long time ago, so you would assume, oh, he's like, no big deal, bring it up now, but a lot of people, they're even saying they probably have all your data and stuff like that. And if they really want to go after you, especially if this goes viral, they probably could. Like some interesting comments. This guy says, what? That is so cool, but not smart. The Chinese government has a tight relationship with North Korea, returns escapees, helps prosecute criminals. If you're flying a DJI drone, they have even more info on you. Info that will allow them to track you down after the fact. So be careful. And some other people are writing, At this point, I assume they are no longer in China given the title of the post. That said, if I was OP, I don't know that I would be going back to China after posting this. Yeah, you know how much surveillance and stuff they have in China if they really wanted to find out who this was? Especially too, like in this case, I wouldn't doubt it anyways. I mean, that's often the talk where a company like DJI, for example, that's just what they have to do if they're in China. If they say, give me this person's data, they have to say, yes, sir. And I wouldn't be surprised if they actually could track this person down. But just in general, would you ever do that? Fly from one country's border to another just to get drone videos and footage and so forth? Man, you're asking for trouble in my opinion. And in terms of flying drones to different countries across the border or whatever, how about this one if it's officials that apparently did it? There was this, I guess, release statement from Japan claiming there was, I guess, a Chinese drone that went on the Sea of Japan area. It says, in general, regarding the movement of Chinese military aircraft, on the morning of Tuesday, March 26, a Chinese military reconnaissance unmanned aircraft flew from the continent, circled over the Sea of Japan, and then flew into the continent. It was confirmed that the aircraft had moved northwest towards the area. In response, fighter jets from the Japan Air Self-Defense Forces, Chubu Air Force, and others were scrambled to respond. Yeah, I guess it's not just regular individuals per se. It's kind of interesting too when you look at, I guess, the picture of what they mentioned was this drone of sort. It almost looks like a regular manned aircraft, huh, when you look at it? But what's going on today with people, I guess, doing crazy things with their drones, flying across borders and all that? All right, see you guys later.